Welcome back, everybody, to Huobi Talks live on Huobi Global. My name is Darko, and tonight we are joined by an extra special panel of guests, and with good reason as well. So tonight we have a special talk show where we are together with iToken to do this program, and we will have many benefits to our audience. But firstly, of course, let's introduce the guests. We have Art Lee, Imran, the head of marketing at Kyber Swap, Justin Drolip from the CEO of Pangolin, and Lindy Han from iToken Wallet. Welcome everybody to Huobi Talks. How are we all feeling this evening?
Hi guys.
I'm good.
Guys, good.
Are we pumped or are we pumped?
We are
Super excited.
Awesome. That's what I want to hear. So also just a quick mention as well, iToken announcement. It's their 4th anniversary NFT that will be released on September 25th. So maybe Lindy can talk to us a bit more about that during this stream. So one more piece of business to take care of before we get started into our series of questions. We have prepared for the audience a series of airdrops, not only airdrop for the live room, also another kind of Candydrop that you can win in our community. So how to join the community airdrop? First of all, you must download the iToken app. We have prepared 4 rounds of benefits and sent them to the audience's iToken wallet address. There are 200 copies in total, so 50 lucky buddies will win prizes in each round. From time to time, I will tell you the lucky words to receive the airdrop in the live broadcast room. There will be 4 lucky words in total. When you hear the lucky words, click on the live broadcast avatar and enter the lucky words, and click on the live broadcast avatar and enter your wallet address under the post of Huobi Talks and iToken. The top 50 friends will get rewards. So without further ado, I would like to give out the first lucky word of the evening, and that is love iToken. That's LOVEITOKEN. Love iToken is the first lucky word of this evening. Grab pen and paper, write it down. Love iToken. All right, so without further ado, let's get straight into Huobi Talk. So tonight we are talking about the effect of the merge on other blockchains. And I'm going to start with the questions in the order as I see everybody on my screen. So question number 1 will be, people are saying that there will be much more institutional interest in ETH now. What is your take on this and how does it affect your community? I'll start with Art Lee since it's the first one on my page. You're on mute, Art Lee. Oops.
Sorry, yeah. trying to keep it sane here. Yeah, thanks a lot. Look, I've been in this crypto space for a bit, and you know what it really means by institutional interest, especially in crypto. If there's not good flow happening where they can make money, they're not going to be really interested. Now, it depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about the hedge funds, or if you're talking about high net worth or whatever. But I think for sure when it comes to Ethereum blockchain and going to proof of stake, there's definitely a lot of funding going in from institutions, financial services institutions looking to build or understand how changes are happening in the blockchain and basically incorporating into their, their technology innovation labs, right? So I think for me, that's where I see all the information happening. I think as far as ETH, would there be more? I don't know. I don't really see it happening. That's what I see.
Interesting. Yeah. So Imran, sorry, I failed to pronounce that correctly this first time. Imran, what's your take on this and what kind of effect has this had on your community?
Sure, Darko. So Kyber Swap actually has been operating. Kyber network started out 5 years ago on Ethereum. So we're very close to the Ethereum community. We are multi-chain today, about 12 chains today, including Avalanche, Polygon, BNB. If you look at blockchains and what they're trying to achieve in general, there are a few things that they're trying to achieve. You talk about trilemma, things like decentralization, scalability, speed. And I think the issue here is that what the merge was addressing was not actually any of these. They were looking at things around specifically sustainability, where you move from proof of work to proof of stake. One big part of that, or one big effect of that now, is that the Ethereum chain has actually gone down in terms of the energy usage by 99.95% or more, right? So I think for the institutional investors looking at ESG compliant investments, I think that could be a green light towards more of that money coming in.
Green light, like your hair?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I think good catch. But I think the other part of it is that I think it paves the way, right? So I think after the merge, there's things like shardings, the search, so on and so forth. Basically, there's a roadmap. Like the merge didn't happen out of the blue. This was discussed years ago, and I think this is something that they're looking at in terms of how do we scale up Ethereum. And I think together with the work of the other L2 blockchains, which is I think the topic of today's theme, right? Like how do the other blockchains play in this? I think that will essentially pave the way for a lot more institutions to come in and work together, solving some of the problems around congestion, scalability, security, decentralization, so on and so forth. Kyber was very happy to participate in this. Number one, firstly, we've supported Ethereum proof of stake as the canonical chain. But we've also provided support for proof of work users. So there are many people who were on chain. They couldn't get access to their tokens. For example, you can't get access to your tokens on the fork on Uniswap and all that. But you can actually access your tokens on Kyber. We provided this 1 month access to proof of work chain for users to be able to access, liquidate, move around, swap their tokens, and exercise their autonomy. So, so far, I think it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of questions about it. It's very technical, and I think it goes over the heads of many users. I think there's still a lot of things to be aware of and beware of for users. But I think overall, I think it's a very positive development for the industry.
So it's positive, overall positive reaction. Awesome. Now, Justin, what's your take on the institutional interest on ETH, and how has this affected your community?
Yeah, I think Imran actually had a very well thought out response. I agree with a lot of what he said there. I think the fact that Ethereum's move to proof of stake obviously has major environmental benefits, and you kind of seeing that proof of work chains are kind of going out of vogue at the moment. So like everyone's moving to proof of stake. So institutions aren't going to want to invest in a chain that isn't green, because it's not going to look good on their public relations and when they talk to their shareholders and the media. So they need that green narrative, right?
Yes.
And then what ultimately happens is most investors it's a very technologically minded space. So most investors don't really know the difference and nuances of a lot of blockchains. So they go where the safe money is, especially now in a bear market where capital is a little bit skittish. And Ethereum's a safe place in the relative volatility of blockchain. In terms of how it's affected our community, I mean, for us, it's really about, like very similar to Kyber, they believe in a multi-chain thesis from my understanding. We do too. This opens up Ethereum to a lot more interesting design cases. When you design in a DEX and you want to design these kind of interoperability pieces, the beacon chain allows us to kind of design more interesting solutions that like hit a broader community.
Interesting. And Lindy, how about you? What's your take on this, and how has this had an effect on your community, if any?
I think we all love the green narrative, because for now there are many blockchains that are on proof of work. There are some companies they boycott, or some funds that they do not wish to invest in because of the negative media associated with it. So definitely that's one point. On the contrary, I don't think that maybe the global energy usage will not decrease, because the truth is that these miners, they've already paid for the electricity, they've paid for the land lease and all that. They are still going to use the electricity for some kind of profit, but just that it is not going to be on Ethereum. So for the investors who want to invest in Ethereum, they can say that, okay, although the global electricity use isn't decreasing, but okay, it's not me who is guilty of it. So I guess they'll be more happy to be on board. Another thing about the proof of stake is that in this way, it makes the returns more predictable, because there's a fixed return per Ethereum stake. And also the incentive now is to lock the Ethereum in staking contracts rather than frequent trading. So I guess that would be more stable. even for our retail users, because our community is mostly retail people. First of all, I would say that the merge is a positive for them, because firstly, when institutions come on board, the entire thing is more stable. The price don't fluctuate so much. So the confidence is there. And so firstly is that they follow the institutional investors, and secondly is that they get to stake even though they do not have the 32 Ethereum needed. They can just join some protocol like Lido Finance, etc. So I would definitely recommend them to join in these blue chip investments if they're going to dabble in crypto, rather than those volatile meme tokens and whatever. I mean, it's a good thing, but now that you definitely should allocate a portion of your portfolio to more blue chip tokens.
Not financial advice, of course.
Oh yeah, NFA YOR.
Yeah. So overall, we can all agree that it's a positive step in the right direction, and also importantly, a little bit more government friendly, because the government doesn't seem to be too much in favor of these high energy consuming mining rigs that have been the talk of the town lately. So overall, we can all agree that it is a step in the right direction to a more positive and greener future. So yeah, there you go, nature lovers. All right, so next up, I want to ask, what changes have you noticed regarding the on-chain activity on your platform before and after the merge? Now, Art, do I apply this question to you too, or do I skip
No,
you?
you're skipping on this one.
All right,
Yep.
so we'll jump straight to Imran. So
Yeah, so on chain, I mean, without divulging anything confidential on my side, we actually did a poll first, right? We said, hey, we're thinking of providing support. Would you like to access your tokens of Ethereum proof of work chain on our DEX? And we actually had 60+% people saying yes. So we actually worked overtime. Within a week, we got it up, and when the merge happened, we essentially said, "Hey, you can actually access Ethereum proof of work through Kyber swap." And very quickly, it actually became, within the first couple of days, the most active chain on our DEX. I think simply because people wanted to access their tokens and deal with the assets, because what happens is all the tokens get forked. However, maybe not all the tokens have utility, right? Because, for example, there are many native projects on Ethereum proof of stake that do not support proof of work. So you might have your Uniswap or Aave or Curve tokens that get duplicated, but those projects aren't supporting those fork tokens. There is no utility on that. So what we saw was tremendous activity going into the pool, setting up pools, swapping out, getting into ETHW, and then quickly trying to find ways to send it back to like a central exchange to liquidate out. And that was precisely the reason why we provided that support, so that someone could actually access those tokens and exercise their autonomy with what they want to do with those tokens. So yeah, pretty interesting to see what's happened. But I think what's going to show in the future, I think it's very, very early for the ETH POW chain, and time will tell.
So volume increased, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, the volume increased. Okay, that's always good. No complaints there. No complaints at all there. All right. So, Justin, same question to you. So, what changes have you noticed regarding the on-chain activity on your platform before and after the merge?
So yeah, Pangolin at the moment is primarily an Avalanche DEX, so it's not deployed on Ethereum. But obviously there's some interest in dynamics between the two networks. Obviously, Avalanche being a competitor in a lot of ways. So obviously, I guess a lot of the Avalanche people were hoping people would move over, or potentially if the merge, but the merge went really well, which is a huge testament to the technical prowess of that team. I mean, the way they did it was incredible. So we didn't really notice much difference, to be honest. The ETH proof of work is an interesting case study, seeing that activity. But the thing is, I guess within our internal team, we kind of believe in the ETH proof of stake vision. So we didn't support ETH proof of work.
Okay, there you go. So, Lindy, same question to you. What changes have you noticed regarding the on-chain activity on your platform before and after the merge?
So there's nothing users love more than an airdrop. So
Yeah.
before so before the merge happened, there was a lot of talk about airdrop of the FW, ETHW, and ETF. So a lot of users were scrambling, and there was a lot of hype in the community, and they were asking like, am I entitled to the airdrop? How do I get the airdrop? So our community mods were basically very busy with them and teaching them how to set up the custom network for our wallet so that they can see the airdrop. Then there was quite a lot of activity around there. So but then the price tanked, right? So after the merge, everything tanked. But some people say is like buy the news, buy the rumor and sell the news thing. And also because of the FOMC report on the interest rates. So now the market is bleeding again, and everything is getting a bit more quiet. But I do see the activity picking up because I guess the FOMC meeting will be the last of the triggers to sort of like kill the market and make it a deep rate. So probably from now until the next news of the interest rates, we will probably see activity rising again.
Yeah, there was a lot of people saying that the merge was at the wrong time considering the global market situation. But then again, maybe we just needed some good positive news, and that was it for now, at least. And I was just thinking while Justin was talking, I was expecting him to say maybe, we might have noticed a bit more higher volume from the people selling off their forked coins and maybe diversifying their portfolios. So, Justin, you didn't notice even a little bit of a change in volume, perhaps, with people with more spending power, or not really?
Well, so you got to look how, these kind of, if you look at Ethereum volume, which I think is what you're talking about. So Ethereum volume, the vast majority of that occurs on, your big centralized exchanges, Uniswap, Sushi on Ethereum. And then the kind of, though that Ethereum is bridged to these other layer twos, kind of like Ethereum competitors. So we would get a bump in Ethereum volume, but like on Avalanche, there's not that much. It wouldn't be as dominant as your AVAX volume. So the volume's probably picked up a wee bit, but like it's not going to move the needle like significantly.
It's not mind blowing, basically.
No.
Yeah,
definitely not.
That's fair enough. Art, back to you now. Your turn, finally. So the merge is a big milestone that opens up many use cases for Ethereum. What do you foresee for some near-term new innovations?
I think right now with what the expectations of the merge and the impact to basically improving scaling and speed, a lot of projects out there will probably be testing their projects on the new chain to see that it has actually improved and it can sustain or fulfill some of the requirements that it couldn't before, right? So I think for myself, I've advised on some blockchains that the projects didn't go through because they put out a kind of a test platform and it just didn't work for them to fulfill sort of like the promise of what they wanted. But one thing I was kind of interested in seeing the shift is that if we look at the mining industry being a $19 billion industry, and we talked about this in previous talks, what is going to happen there? There's a lot of investment in that space. How is that computing power going to be used? ETHW, is it going to support like some other, basically the old proof of work chains? But if it does start to give up a lot of those computers, then there's got to be some innovation in how to innovate to reuse these. Like imagine the massive amounts of hardware that's still out there, right? So I don't know if it's really innovation, but maybe they can shift that computer power to do something else. I mean, I can imagine something else. It's still not going to be great for the environment if it continues to be used, right? We're supposed to be going the reverse, but it's a big money maker. So I guess I'm expecting some innovation to happen in the mining space, where they're going to find new ways to actually earn money and still use the computer power. Not saying that's a good thing, but this is what I'm expecting to see.
And Imran, what do you think will be some of the new innovations post-merge?
Personally, I think there could be hundreds of use cases coming in. Some things that I would love to see more of, GameFi companies actually making good games.
Yes. Good games, keyword,
Like
good
good
games.
games. Like I used to be a gamer back in my day, and I just wish that
Until
the focus
GameFi
is
came along.
yeah, until GameFi came along. But like I think DeFi, whenever that there's big run, it's always like a new way to earn. Whether it's like the run from the DAOs, the run from staking, liquidity mining, so on and so forth. So I think DeFi protocols will probably be thinking around how can we work with Ethereum, with the L2s, with new innovative ways of liquidity mining or helping users earn. So Kyber, for example, is working with protocols like Lido Finance, and we're doing this on like Polygon, we're doing this on Arbitrum, we're doing this on Optimism, and hopefully we'll usher in kind of like a DeFi 3.0. But I think there's so many other things. Like I wish I didn't have to talk to an insurance manager ever again in my life. That I could just have it coded on a smart contract, and it's on the blockchain, and I don't need to talk to anyone. If my flight gets delayed, I just get paid. I don't need to fill out a form. I think there are just hundreds and hundreds of use cases for DeFi and blockchain that honestly are yet to be explored, built out, proven, and I think hopefully with the merge, with the rise of the L2s as well, we will have the next generation of builders proving out all these various use cases.
Interesting point. Justin, how about yourself? So what kind of new innovations do you foresee post-merge?
Yes, I think, for a long time, Ethereum had this kind of dead weight around them where they had to move to proof of work to proof of stake, and they couldn't really innovate. So like, for how long we've been talking about this? So
years.
Long time. So the thing is, now they get all these like amazing talent. Let's be fair, all the best talents on Ethereum. Not that, I mean, that's probably a bit disparaging, but a large percentage of the best talent in this industry is there. So I think Ethereum's quite lucky in my mind, because they've had Polkadot and Cosmos to kind of like blaze a little bit of what this multi-chain kind of future with the beacon chain looks like. So they can kind of learn the lessons from Polkadot and Cosmos and integrate that. So I'm looking forward to, like, there's some very cool stuff on Cosmos. Now, can you imagine how cool that stuff will be on Ethereum with like the weight of, all of that talent? So, and like GameFi, obviously, like I also enjoy games. So I think that's going to be, I'm looking forward to maybe like not EVM GameFi chains. I don't think the EVM is very good for GameFi. It's like this weird, you go off chain and then you play and then it goes back on chain. It's just a bit messy. So I'm looking forward to kind of like customized gaming VMs, which I think will be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. Are you a PC player, a game player, or a console player?
PC.
Oh, you're hardcore, huh? You're hardcore. Nice. And Lindy, what kind of innovations do you see post-merge?
I see we have a lot of game fans here.
Me.
All of you. Okay, well, what I see that the immediate effect of the Ethereum merge will be derivatives and derivatives of derivatives. So right now we see a lot of staking going on in, say, Coinbase or Binance and Lido Finance, right? So it used to be like Lido Finance it still is, that has the majority of the stake Ethereum. But I see gradually that exchanges are starting to be validators as well, to start their own node and have staking. So there's like, so the STF is a derivative of the stake Ethereum, right? Of Ethereum. So what I foresee is that all these Ethereum that's circulating in the market, the pure original Ethereum, a lot of it will be staked, and it cannot be withdrawn until the Shanghai upgrade, right? So there comes a point where there might be more stake ETH than ETH. And then what are people going to do with this stake ETH? They're just going to stake it again, or they're going to use it in some other protocol to lend again. So there'll be a derivative of the stake ETH. So that's where I see the market is going. And wherever there's a new innovation, things are going to blow up. So we probably see a new bubble coming.
Oh yeah.
So it'll probably be another bubble on the derivatives of Ethereum. So yeah, that's just my guess. We're still early, so let's see how it plays out.
And early we are. Now, to everybody watching in the live chat, especially in the Huobi Global app, especially the next lucky word for you to know is EULA, and that is spelled U-L-A. ULA or EULA, doesn't matter how you pronounce it, you just need to type it correctly. U-L-A, ULA. That's the next second lucky word of this evening. So, Art, going back to you, could you share your opinions of your community regarding the merge? So, can you?
Yeah, sorry, I think off mute. Look, I think overall it is quite positive. I remember before the merge, there was a lot of concerns of any hiccups, anything blowing up. I had suspected, for the most part, in technology, if things do have a problem, the teams would be on it and putting in patch fixes as soon as possible. And we didn't really hear anything. So I think overall, it's almost just kind of it's very historic in a sense. You think about how fast the community has come to support this blockchain. Overall, it's kind of like, I guess there was expectation that perhaps the price would go up, but I think everyone understands that there was such a buildup in the ETH over a few months because in anticipation of the merge. So yeah, there's going to be a sell-off, especially in the current environment. So, I mean, that wasn't a surprise, but I guess it's a little bit expected in a sense, not only just with ETH, but every other coins that's actually on the Ethereum network as well. Other than that, I guess no real like negatives I can see. But I guess in a sense, like I'm kind of curious beyond the community of just like users, whether they're developers or people just working in the space. But like I guess regulators, I'm kind of wondering are there going to be new changes that come in place, right? If there is sort of this whole global effort in really trying to,
They'll find a way.
they'll find a way, right? But if they said something, okay, well, you got to switch over to proof of stake, or you can no longer support proof of work, or only a percentage of people. I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's going to be regulations that will now step into place now that there's a solution to go to, right? Yep. So that's what I.
It sounded like this at the start of your answer. You were trying to avoid the phrase. It was a by the rumor sell the news event.
Yeah.
Imran, same to you. So could you share your opinions of your crypto community regarding the merge?
Okay, so the Kyber swap community is largely traders, LPs, liquidity providers. So I think people were just kind of a bit concerned what's going to happen after the merge. What do I do with my assets? Will anything need to be done by myself? So as a team, we're very clear that we focus and support on Ethereum proof of stake as the canonical chain. The proof of work support for this past month or for this current month is something that we just want to provide as a user benefit so that you can access your tokens. That's positive so far. People are still asking, okay, what do I do with this tokens? Can I liquidate it? So I think we're helping out there. For the ETH proof of work, I think it's very early days for them. I mean, we've actually talked to their team directly. We find them; they seem to be nice people. They seem to be responsive. But I think they will probably need to come up with a compelling long-term value proposition for their reason of being, right? And I wish them well, but I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I think on Lindy's point about what's going to happen with the ETH and the assets, I think a lot of people before the merge they unstaked so that they can receive their fork tokens, and then now they're staking again. What can they do with it? Right now, we are working with protocols like Lido to actually have your LPs and your yield farms on stake ETH and other stake assets like Stakematic, and we'll see what happens from there. I think it'll be fun for now. And I think back to what Art said around regulators, what's gonna what's going to be the regulation focus after this. I think this is something that is very much existential with or without the merge, that DeFi as a whole industry has to reckon with, and actually sit down with regulators and really discuss, okay, what's the way forward? How do we move things? How do we make things in a way that's compliant? If the issue is really things like terrorism, money laundering, can we address that without inhibiting human freedoms? Which is essentially what DeFi is all about, right? So I think we can have one and also have the other, if we work together, market, industry, regulators as well. I think these are all questions which are up in the air from both the community as well as our team's mind, that I think we don't have any idea where this will go. On our side, we're very focused on making sure that DeFi is easy to access, it's safe, it's efficient, it's rewarding for anyone in the world to access. And I think that's going to be our long-term vision and what we work very hard to do every day.
And going back to talking with the regulators and working together, unfortunately, it's just such a long time consuming process. It's taking so long.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. And there's always an expert who's not an expert in those talks as well, which doesn't help the situation either. So same thing to Justin. Could you share your opinions regarding your crypto community regarding the merge?
Yeah, I think it was very positively taken. Like we wish the Ethereum, I mean, a lot of the Ethereum, we stand on the shoulders of giants, right? So if you look at like as Avalanche, with an EVM chain, Polygon, all of these like very successful chains owe a great debt to Ethereum. So I think it's amazing for them. And like it was just really nice to see. I mean, what they try to do from technical complexity is incredibly difficult. And it just went through. Like there's no like big drama. There was no like it is incredibly impressive. So I think we're all just very happy for them, and we're looking forward to seeing, where they move from here, and what cool stuff they'll bring for us as well, right?
The future should be very interesting indeed. And Lindy, could you also share your opinions of your crypto community regarding the merge? You're on mute, Lindy. It was bound to happen to someone at some point.
Yeah, okay. So I was saying one good thing about the merge is that it brought our community's focus back to Ethereum. Because like originally Ethereum, when there was only Bitcoin and Ethereum and a few of the major blockchains, the focus was that there were many users that were using Ethereum dApps. So, but the thing is that it increasingly got very expensive for them to make transactions, even simple swaps or even simple staking. The transaction fee is just too much. So there were some activities that we could do with Ethereum-based projects. Like for example, we tried to do a trading competition with DYDX, which the DYDX token is on the Ethereum chain. But it's like, okay, if I trade like $50 worth and my gas fee is $30 worth, it's just not worth it at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then for us, it's very difficult to do the price distribution as well, because we try to get as much of the community involved as possible for every event. So we would like to give, say, like awards to 100 people, a smaller award to 100 people than a big award to one person. So, but then it's very difficult, you see, because for every transaction we pay a huge amount of gas fee. So that was quite challenging for us as well. So because of that, we eventually we decided we did a lot of activities on different blockchains that have lower gas fees. But so I guess the community kind of like forgot about Ethereum until the news of the merge came back, and that sort of brought back interest, so that we kind of like take the opportunity to talk about Ethereum again and to give them some basic education about it. So yeah, it's a good thing for our community, and so they come back and they're more lively and they explore our different dApps.
It was sort of like people were waiting so long for it to happen that people just thought Ethereum is dead now. Like they just forgot about it consciously. And then all of a sudden the news came out, it's happening next week. And it's like rising from the ashes, so to speak. So it brought back that excitement because a lot of people were getting bored of waiting so long. And there was the constant delays and delays and delays. I mean, we were waiting for it to launch since last year. And then that was just followed with even more delays until recently. So yeah, some good points there. Now, next up, Art. I'm not sure if you would want to answer this question, but I will ask you first anyway. Will you be focusing on partnering with Ethereum projects because of the merge?
Yeah, well, it's not partnering. You know, I'm looking for projects all the time in many respects. So I think for myself as an advisor and also a marketer, I'm always interested to see some of these new projects coming to light, and maybe some of these new ones that maybe haven't gotten enough attention, but equally tied to some, I guess, a VC community that I meet with every once in a while that are looking for new opportunities. So, you know, I'm just, you know, I love to stay in the game and kind of see what's out there. So I think people who are supporting the proof of stake, and at some point when they get, I guess, sharding in place, it'd be really interesting the type of innovations or new projects that can be out there. That's kind of exciting, and I guess the time is now to kind of identify these projects going into the next year.
Imran, will you be partnering with more projects post merge because of the merge?
Yeah, so most definitely. I think if you look at Ethereum and its associated L2s or EVM chains, I think you can see that the growth is still there. Let's say look at some of the L2s like Arbitrum, Optimism, Kyber Swap integrates with those chains as well. I think you can see that those chains, even with the merge, are quite actively growing. Even it's speeding up as well in terms of like number of addresses and all that. So I think it's that there's the pie that's kind of like increasing, and I think for us, our ecosystem strategy is partnerships, like integrations. We integrate other dexes, we get other dexes to integrate our pools. We basically use our swap and we integrate our swap into many different dApps, GameFi. We power in-app swaps, stuff like that, and so I think for us, the partnerships is really crucial to really make sure that us as a leader or participant in this ecosystem is very much deeply embedded for the long term, and that's absolutely our goal.
Nice. I agree with you 100% on that as well. I'm a big believer in partnerships. Many brands are like, "Oh, we're not ready for partnerships now," or "Now's not the right time because we're in a bear market." I'm like, dude or dudette. I mean,
That's the best
partnerships are so important. Yeah, exactly. Justin, what's your take on that? So do you think you'll be focusing more on partnering with Ethereum-based projects because of the merge as well, or nothing changes?
No, definitely. So, you know, Ethereum's obviously, in terms of TVL and activity, it's where the vast majority of DeFi occurs. So, yeah, definitely we're looking at going to Ethereum. There'll definitely be a different kind of, our approach is slightly different to, I guess, other dexes. We believe like that the kind of hub and spoke liquidity model pioneered by kind of osmosis within the Cosmos chain, I think that's the model that we look at. So, you know, when you look at most dexes, most lending protocols, you know, they deploy on these chains and then they deploy on another chain, but there's no real interoperability with them, you know. So, you know, our real approach is to ensure that in this bear market, you know, no matter however long you think it's going to occur, like long, you know, whether it's 18 months, however long you think this bear market's going to happen, is we have to build the foundation so that when the next market cycle turns, we've built those foundations on the technology that will own that narrative, and interoperability is key to that.
I agree as well, 100% with that as well. I've been saying that for a long time. Very good. And Lindy, how about you? Will you be focusing more on partnering with Ethereum-based projects post-merge, or are things just going to stay the same?
Definitely, I'll be focusing on partnering with more Ethereum-based projects. Although the merge didn't solve the problem of the gas fees are still high. But I do think that eventually it will resolve itself somehow, because that's just the way technology works. Things are expensive when it first starts, and eventually it gets cheaper. Like for example, data was very expensive just a few years ago. Now it's like virtually free. My telecom operator is dropping me 20 gig free data, 30 gig free data. I don't even use so much. So yeah, I guess that's how technology goes. And since Ethereum is the hype is there right now, we do want to provide our users with accessibility to everything in the blockchain. So being a multi-chain wallet, we support many different blockchains and many different dApps, and we want to make every single dApp and every single blockchain accessible to all our users. Ease and accessibility is definitely the key for us. And if they want to have a way to stake their tokens, to stake their ETH, we make it easy for them. So we are working with many fiat RAMs, and we are also working with Lido Finance to make it easy for users to buy Ethereum and to stake Ethereum. So I mean, even if like you are just a man on the street and you don't know anything about Web3, we try to make it easy for you. You can use your fiat money, your credit card, or any local currency to just purchase Ethereum and get involved in it. And then there's an option to stake and swap as well, just directly from the interface of the wallet.
I'm very happy with everybody's answers, and those were the answers I was hoping to hear, because when I was saying, there's some projects out there that say, we're not ready to partner with them, or it's not the right time to get involved with partnerships, I thought, oh man, what if one of the answers is that we're not going to partner with them? So no, very good from everybody here. They're the answers I was hoping to hear, which is awesome. Everybody's on the same mindset, which is good. All right, so next up, Art, do you think that Polygon will eventually be replaced?
Not at all. I think Polygon has proved itself on its capabilities as a sidechain on the speed. And, even though sharding comes in place and you put Polygon on top of that, I think it'll be amazing. And it's still not going to be fast enough. So I think this is sort of the way of the future. I mean, you got to partner up, right, with the guys actually making impact. And why would you try to kill them off? I think you can totally leverage a lot of the mindset and knowledge and just the genius of what they've already done, and just add more value onto the chain.
Cool. Imran, what about you? What do you think? Do you think Polygon will eventually be replaced?
So Polygon, I think, is doing a great job. If you look at the past year and the announcements they've made, I think nothing short of massive blockbuster announcements back to back to back. For example, they just said, "Hey, Starbucks is going to create their what they call it, their rewards card with Polygon technology." And like there's a lot of people in DeFi that kind of like shit on them because it's like, "Hey, you guys are going normie" and stuff like that. And I think they are solving the problems that exactly DeFi people really need to solve, right? Which is, how do you onboard the next 1 billion users, right? And if we don't do that, then I think we're just going to be a side art project for little degens and DeFis in the corner in our garage and never really become big. And I think that's not the point. The point is we want to really make something that is accessible for everyone in the world. So I think Polygon's doing a great job on that. Polygon actually happens to be the chain that Kyber Swap has the most number of daily active users on.
Wow.
So we're actually very bullish on them. We just announced a liquidity mining campaign with them actually just today. So we're very close with the foundation. I think they're doing a great job. But again, like Justin said, we are multi-chain. Like at the end of the day, I think most users, I kind of see it as kind of like Windows and Mac. In the past, you would be editing a doc on a Windows laptop, and a MacBook wouldn't be able to open it or access it, right? And I think those were interoperability issues. And I think for normal users, they don't want to know what chain they're on. They won't want to know the settings, the gas fees, advanced settings, the different variables. They just want it to work. And I think I think people like Polygon are really trying to do that. I think for us, Kyber Swap, we are also really focusing on how do we keep things under the hood. I think like the question is, are we there yet? I think we're very far as an industry, but I think Polygon's doing a great job in many of these different aspects and trying to push together everything from the scaling up to working with like your canonical Ethereum chain to working with your largest corporations in the world like Starbucks and Stripe and all of that.
So far, Artley believes that no, it won't be replaced. Imran believes no, it won't be replaced. What does Justin and Lindy have to say? Justin, what's your take? Come on, I want to hear a debate here. Just disagree with someone.
I think Polygon played very well their game of chess. The thing is, the current iteration of what they are may be replaced, but by an enhanced version. So Polygon bought, like, they were super smart during the bull, whereas a lot of kind of protocols were kind of being a bit reckless. They bought very good engineering talent that are building some of the most like complex stuff in the space. So though the results of that kind of engineering work will be seen in the next years. So they're very good at the biz dev, as Imran said, the Starbucks, and I think there was Disney, but there was like a bunch of like really high profile stuff. But their tech is also legit. Like, some people might be a little bit disparaging, but that's because the space is full of maximalists and it's quite like
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, but Polygon's got like legitimate stuff, and like I think they're definitely going to be around.
Okay, Lindy, could you disagree with anybody? Do you think Polygon will eventually be replaced, or are you on the same track as everybody else here?
Yeah, of course not. Why will Polygon be replaced? I don't think so. So the reason why people say that Polygon might be replaced is because Ethereum is the whole angle of Polygon is a cheaper and a faster Ethereum. And now with the merge, these are going to be solved. So Ethereum is going to be faster and Ethereum is going to be cheaper. So there will be no need for Polygon anymore and no need for the other layer 2s. But I don't agree on that. So Polygon and the other layer 2s, they will just get also cheaper and faster. So so Ethereum will get cheaper and faster, and so all these will equally move as well. So now some people might think that since Ethereum is going to get cheaper and faster, then I'll just stick with Ethereum, you see. So why do I need to be so fast, and why do I need to be so cheap? Okay, this is also what I thought when I refused to upgrade my iPhone. So I'm thinking like, why do I need such big memory? Why do I need such fast speed? Until my phone died on me because I couldn't upgrade. It was not supported because I needed more memory. So the thing is, how the world evolved is that we will always need to be faster and we will always need to be cheaper. So even though Ethereum is going to be faster and cheaper, but there will always be a use case of something that is even faster and even cheaper. So no, I don't think Polygon is going to die. In fact, it's going to grow together with Ethereum.
Everybody is so friendly here tonight.
Oh, good.
Speaking of friendly, though, that brings us to our next lucky word of the evening, which is friend forever. And that is spelt with the number 4, not the word 4. So it's friend, the number 4, ever. To everybody watching, friend forever is the lucky word. FRIEND, the number 4, EVER. Friend forever for those getting involved in the Candydrop with the lucky words here tonight. I'm so glad I spelled friend correctly while being live. I would have looked like a real numbnuts if I misspelled friend live. All right, so next up, Art. Do you still see cross-chain continuing as a development trend in the future, and when do you expect to see increased demand for it?
Yeah, so I think this cross-chain will continue, and it has to. It's still very early days in this industry. Lots of new innovations will come into place. If you look at something as simple as the internet protocol, maybe at some time you got like a structured layer of what people are working on, layer 2, layer 3, whatever that's what they're calling it today. But in the internet land, right, you got the application layer that has different functions, FTP, SMTP. They're doing specific functions, right? And I think over a period of time, this is how technology is. You got to do cross-chaining to support different systems for interoperability. The way maybe if banks actually get into place, like DBS is building, their systems in their bank, who knows what they're using, right? They might try to create a standard or maybe something that's more custom to their banking system, but then they have APIs that go into cross chains to support whatever they need to do to push the data across. So I think, as I said, until there is like a supported standard way, I mean, it takes a long time. Even like I said today, internet protocols are supporting different protocols within protocols, right? Just to manage the cross of data.
Art, your answer sounded so technical that hearing you speak sounded like you were a human calculator talking to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, before I proceed with Imran, there's just something I've got to clear up. I just had a quick look at the official Huobi Global app, and I'm noticing people are typing friends forever for the lucky word. It's not friends forever. It is friend forever. So FRIEND, the number 4, EVER, friend forever, not friends forever. Okay, friend forever. Lucky I checked the app when I did just then. All right, so back to Imran. Do you still see cross-chain continuing as a development trend in the future, and when do you expect to see increased demand for it?
To be honest, I think there is demand for cross-chain today. I think the issue is not with demand. I think the issue is with what Art mentioned earlier, which is around the technology, the integration, the security. Most of the hacks and most of the money that was stolen through the hacks this year honestly went through the bridges and the cross-chain protocols. Things like Ronin sidechain and stuff like that. And I think like even for Kyber swap, we are multi-chain, but we're not cross-chain yet because we haven't been convinced with some of the security issues that we've been looking at, either
Fair
building
enough.
it in-house or even the protocols that we could potentially integrate with. And then there are already some of these, or many of these out there, right? So for example, multi-chain being one of the more prominent ones. But I think if you dig deeper right now, there are questions being asked around how they account for certain balances and transactions. And I think, I think these are things that need to be sorted out. Otherwise, it could lead to a big mess. And when I say that, it's not a light matter, right? It's talking about fraud, user funds, and I think more importantly, loss in confidence for the industry overall. So I think one thing that the industry needs to be very careful about is not shipping without the appropriate security, DUD, smart contract audits, and I think DeFi tends to ship very fast, and I think we just have to be a bit careful about that. Yeah.
Okay, you raised some good security points there. Justin, how about yourself? Do you still see cross-chain continuing as a development trend in the future, and when do you expect to see increased demand for it?
Yeah, I think what we at Pangolin look at is like, how do you compete with centralized exchanges? And for someone to kind of go to a decentralized application and have to switch the chain and all this technical stuff, the user doesn't care. The user just wants to trade a token, do their thing, and they want all of that other stuff abstracted. So I guess the major issue with today is obviously bridges are honeypot and they're getting hacked left, right, and center. But what you're seeing is you're starting to see these interoperability kind of like levels, and like in DeFi, you see kind of liquidity aggregators, and now you're starting to see bridge aggregators, and you're going to see all of these building blocks that are appearing, overlay networks within those like kind of like layers. So really, I think the technology is quite close. I think in terms of bridges, I think it's going to be last man standing. Ultimately, reputation to recover. I mean, this is an interesting space. You can have a bridge that gets hacked one day and a week later raised for that exact amount, and then everyone acts as if nothing happened. So I don't know how long that can last. But there's some of the most innovative work is occurring in that space.
Yeah, true. And Lindy, what's your take? Do you still see cross-chain continuing as a development trend in the future, and when do you expect to see increased demand for it?
I do see cross-chain continuing, although I think it will be more under the hood, so that the user, as I agree with Imran and Justin, they say that the user really doesn't care about what chain is it or how they do the swap that they want, as long as they get it done. See,
that's it.
Yeah. So the thing is, if I want USDC, I don't care if it's USDC on Ethereum chain or USDC on BSC or Polygon chain. I just want my USDC. Okay.
Just give me the USDC already.
Exactly. So we're trying to make this easier for our users, So for example, our swap function, we have integrated an atomic swap. So the thing is that usually if for example, if a user wants to swap a Bitcoin into USDC, they'll first have to bridge it. They'll first have to do a swap and then bridge it over, and then they do the swap and then they bridge it over again into the chain that they want. So we make it easy for users such that they can just swap any token they want from any chain into another token of any other chain without the bridging part. So we just try to help the user skip as many steps as possible. And I guess the evolution to the future will be such that the user probably does not have to care so much about. There will be a day where the user is able to just take USDC and not know or care what chain it's on.
You all raised some really interesting points, which leads me to the next question, similar type of question regarding the future. Art, what is your general take on the immediate, medium, and long term of the crypto industry? This is really juicy question here. I'm really curious to hear everybody's answers here.
Well, I'll keep it a little bit short in here. I just think the ones that I've been really curious about, as I mentioned before, is where will the ETH miners go, right? So I think that's the immediate. Moving over to Ethereum Classic, Ergo, or Flux, something like that. It's just really interesting because they got to go somewhere. So I think that's the immediate. I think we were talking, someone's mentioned Cosmos before. That's kind of booming, kind of bringing DeFi back. But I think long-term wise, I think what will happen for sure, and I'm always wondering like how long it's going to take. Where regulators are coming in out here in Hong Kong, they were saying that Hong Kong is going to come back and support like crypto, right? And supporting new companies coming in. And I thought, oh, that was pretty interesting. And then you got the UK telling FTX, hey, stay out of our country. We don't want your business here, right? So rather than just not accepting the business, I'm just waiting to see what regulators will do to actually help kind of grow the industry and add to its innovation, rather than just putting up blocks, to stop innovation, right? So I think that would be really the long term, and it feels like it's picking up more than before. I mean, I remember the last crypto winter, in 18, 19, and I everyone thought everyone's going to go STOs, everyone's going to go regulated, right? Look how many years it's been, right? Not a whole lot has changed. And then with all the kind of like reputational or the damage, I guess, the potential long-term damage with Three Arrows, and how the crypto market just kind of like totally collapsed in a way. I always wonder, I say, okay, well, the crypto market is a lot smaller than it was earlier this year, losing trillions of dollars, and is it important anymore? I always thought it had to grow enough strength in investors sort of like putting their interest in it in order for the regulators to really pay attention. But once it's pulled back, now I'm kind of questioning, that's the long term. What is that long term? Are they going to look at it 5 years from now? I don't know. I mean, so that's kind of how I see it.
Look, nobody wants to see brands, companies collapse, but if they're destined to collapse, then let them collapse early rather than later, and then they ruin the space again when we're reaching new all-time highs and higher highs. So again, I don't want to see projects fail. I don't want to see companies collapse. Some were just destined not to be successful, unfortunately. It's harsh to say, but that's the truth, as we've seen in the past with the collapse of some of the other ones. But yeah, you're right. It's just the way it is, and it'll be interesting to see in the future what will happen, especially between now and 2030. For some reason, I've got 2030 in my mind. 8 more years, 2 more Bitcoin halvings between now and then. I think a lot is going to be very interesting by 2030. Imran, what's your take on that? Short-term, medium-term, long-term?
Okay, so here's my thesis.
Everybody grab a pen and paper, write a book.
Get ready. So I think the short term, I think most people are gonna get wrecked by the macros. I think that's the hard truth, right? There's gonna be a crunch in liquidity. If you look at the macro markets, with the stock market, with what's going on in Europe, with what's going on with the war, there are just lots of macro factors at play here, which means that there's probably not going to be a lot more cash coming into the crypto market. Back to what Art was talking about earlier as well, right? So I think as short-term investors, for those out there looking at the short-term price movements, you have to be very careful.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
Oh,
yeah, so be super careful about that. I think that also affects projects, because I think every project is beholden to their cash flow and their reserves. And I think 100% every company out there, including the crypto companies, including the DeFi companies, are very aware of the potential of this, right? Even if, let's say, I have a certain treasury of coins I minted with depressed prices, I can only buy a fraction of what I can buy with the reserve or the treasury that I have, right? So I think those factors will also play a part in terms of in the short term how much movement the industry is going to make. But I think that's not going to stop the builders from building, right? From building, integrating, going out there, doing work. I think that's why most of us in the call here are here today, because we're still doing that run and still going through that grind. But I think in the midterm, there will be some sort of discussion and reckoning around a few things, right? One is how do we reconcile the regulatory movement with the industry movement? I think the second thing is how can we move forward the industry as a whole without regurgitating DeFi 0.1, 1.0, 2.0? Is it just going to be the same old schemes again? Like, I don't think that's going to work, right? Same thing, right? Like, GameFi companies aren't just going to release the same mechanics of an XE and expect to do well. So I think there will be a lot more interesting mechanisms and use case coming in, many of which are going to be untested, but most likely going to lead to certain levels of runs and growth and build-ups. But I think in the long term, I think the real goal is, as a builder, for KyberSwap, our goal is to see DeFi kind of like flip TradFi in a way. I think the goal here is to be ubiquitous, right? To be mainstream, to be having people really see DeFi as an option for me to move my money around, to exercise my autonomy in a way that is accessible, it's easier to use, it's cheaper to use, it's more efficient, there's less friction, there's less clicks than going through traditional finance. And maybe it might not overtake in the normal sense of actual TVL or day-to-day lives, but in terms of, let's say, number of users, I think we should be looking at the actual billion number of users coming into DeFi long term. And I think that's something that the industry and at least us at Kyber is something that we really envision and hope to really push forward. Something that is decentralized, something that brings back human freedoms, that really focuses on self-custody, privacy, and all the ideals that really is the foundation of all the technology and market movements that you see today.
And it will be a bit of a challenge considering the state of the world, while everybody is minimizing their risks. And what we need for people to not minimize their risks so much to onboard is confidence. So we still have a road ahead. It's still a journey ahead to get that mainstream confidence, especially in these global uncertain times, which is an even bigger challenge. But we'll get there. I'm confident we will get there. Justin, what's your take on the crypto industry, short-term, medium-term, long-term, just in general?
Short term, so it's obviously a bear market. Most projects will probably run out of money at some point over the next 18 months, and a lot of projects won't be around. Unfortunately, they won't have to plan their cash flow, and they'll kind of, you'll start seeing those kind of sad Twitter posts start popping up, and people shutting up shop. Then I think regulators are going to come in. They're going to come after the stable coins first. I mean, that's clear that's going to happen. And then there's going to be probably KYC is going to be thrust upon us at probably down the barrel of a gun, I'd imagine. It won't be a choice. We'll suck it up. So there's going to be a lot of gnashing of teeth, but it's happening. And, I don't think there's much we can do about it. And then I think we need utility. Like in Web 2, you didn't pay to do a Google search. You paid with your data. But you certainly didn't pay gas to do a Google search. So like most of crypto is speculative at the moment. So I think what's happening is we're building out the kind of pipelines, the architecture, the building blocks of it. But like we haven't seen applications with a hell of a lot of utility, maybe that's a controversial thought, but we need to provide value, not just a casino. And crypto has a hell of a lot of talent, but we need to move away from the casino and provide utility for our users.
Yeah, we don't want people thinking the crypto space is some sort of online gambling resort similar to those online casinos, as you just mentioned. So that's definitely true. And Lindy, what is your take on, in general, on the crypto industry, short term, medium term, long term?
Yeah, so to put a long story short, I guess crypto will be that we will definitely be seeing more people on board crypto, and the way that the state of the global finance is actually making it faster. It's aggravating the situation. So the thing is that because we've printed a lot of money, we've printed super a lot of money, and inflation is getting out of control. And not only so for developed countries, but even more so for the developing countries. So a lot of people in, say, like Brazil, Turkey, they find it's just not possible to hold their local currency anymore, and eventually they'll have to find somewhere to put the money that they earn, right? So they say, this month I earn X dollars of salary, and where am I going to put my salary? So I like immediately running to the supermarket and buying like toilet paper and milk. So they probably want to store some, and where can they store it? It's only in cryptocurrency.
True.
We'll definitely be seeing like a lot of these third world country people storing their money in cryptocurrency. But that being said, I think this will contribute to although it makes things easier for the people in the developing countries to store their money, it doesn't necessarily mean that things are better for them. Because I guess in the long run, the rich poor divide is just going to increase. Because right now, those who have money are buying crypto, and the more people buy crypto, the more the value is going to increase, and the richer these people are going to become. So the divide is just going to get bigger and bigger. So that's where I see it going.
Nice. Interesting point. Everybody's had some interesting points here tonight. Now, before we give this stream a wrap, the next and final lucky word for this evening is iToken turns 4. And that's with the number 4 at the end. So it's iToken turns 4, all as one word, iToken turns 4. Lucky word, iToken turns 4. Thank you so much, everybody, for contributing with that. Art, Imran, Justin, Lindy, it has been an honor and pleasure sharing thoughts with you here tonight, and all your opinions were very valuable, not just to me, but to the global Huobi live audience. So I thank you all for coming on board tonight, and hopefully we get to see all of you back here again in the near future for some more talks. But I think next time you come back on as a collective, I think we might just allocate some extra time to this stream, because I can see you're all itching to say more. And we're a little bit on a schedule this evening. So maybe next time we can allocate an even bigger show. What, if you guys like, that is, of course. But it's been fun, that's for sure. So Art, thanks for coming on board.
Thanks.
Imran, nice to meet you as well for the first time.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And Justin, first time. It was a pleasure to meet you for the first time as well.
Pleasure to meet you, and thank you for having me.
Pleasure was mine. And Lindy, it was a pleasure meeting you as well for the first time. Thank you for coming on board.
Thanks, Darko. Thanks for having me here. Just one little thing that I want to tell you. I spotted somebody in my Telegram community group saying that Darko is my favorite host.
Nice.
Oh,
Ah!
thank you. I try. The secret is lots of coffee before you go live.
I see.
I really appreciate that feedback. It helps me with the next live stream I do. Thank you so much. And you're all awesome guests. You're all fantastic speakers, and you all have valuable knowledge that I really appreciate you sharing with the global Huobi Live audience, which is why I really hope to see you all back here again at some point in the future for some more interesting talks, not just interesting topics, but so I may pick your brains even more next time as well. So I really thank you all for watching, for coming aboard, and thank you to everybody watching in the Huobi official Huobi Global app on the various YouTube channels that we are streaming to right now as well. And I believe we're on Facebook Live. So thank you to everybody for getting involved in the live chat. Thank you for everybody for getting involved in the Candydrops. And thank you for smashing that like button as well. Feel free to share these streams, because the more you share these streams, the more you help us grow, and the more we help the crypto industry grow together. Together we shall grow, as I keep saying. So without further ado, until next time, please be safe, be healthy, trade wise, and as always, rock on.